Well, I'd like to welcome everybody out to a special edition of Ask the Pastors. Today, I have a special guest with me, Dean Loftus, the director from Red Cliff Bible Camp down in Pinedale, Wyoming. Dean was originally going to be with us for our Sunday services, but in light of all the restrictions here in Montana with the quarantine, the 14-day quarantine and all. Dean's unable to or decided not to come up to Montana right now, but we'll have him live another time. But I wanted to do a special edition here of Ask the Pastors where we can get to know a little bit about Dean and his background and history and some more about the camp. I know a lot of our folks have never been to Red Cliff, where we've been going the last few summers and some projects and things that they're doing down there. But Dean, I want to welcome you. Thanks for taking time to come out and do this special edition of Ask the Pastors. Why don't you take just a moment and kind of introduce yourself, tell us a little bit about yourself and your family, if you would.
All right, I am Dean Loftus, and I have a wife, Lori, and then I have 4 children. And I was actually born and raised in Havre, Montana, and grew up there. And my mother still lives up in Havre. And then I have a brother in Havre and a sister in Great Falls. And so that's a little bit about my background there. I grew up in a little Baptist church up in Havre, and then attended camp down at Camp Castle Rock as a kid. And so that gives you a little bit of background there. So you guys are in the home country. You'll see over my shoulder here, or above my head, my son-in-law made me a plaque, and it's got the outline of Montana with Montana on it. And then it says "Home Sweet Home" on it. So we do have that background there. I met my wife at Red Cliff back in 1985. And I have served at Red Cliff since the summer of 1985, the summers, and then went full-time at Red Cliff in 1989. And so my kids have all grown up in camp. My oldest son, Philip, lives here in Pinedale. He has worked on camp staff and now is currently a service writer and business manager at the local Polaris dealership here. And he married a gal that he met in camp work. They were working down at Ironwood Christian Camp, and he met his wife, and they have 2 children. So we have 2 grandchildren, 2 granddaughters. Then my second child is a girl. My daughter married a young man who came to work at Red Cliff, and so we tease him that if we'd have known he was going to marry our daughter, we wouldn't have hired him to work at camp in the summer.
Right.
And so, and they live here in town, and they both work for the school system in the county. And then my third child, Gannett, is getting married in August, and he is a second semester senior this fall at Bob Jones University, and he is a pre-med major. Mm. And his wife just graduated from Bob Jones, and she is a pre-med major as well. And so they're looking for a med school to go together too. And then my youngest son, Isaac, is working this summer at Ironwood Christian Camp. And he actually flew down there yesterday for a wedding of another staff member that he's worked with. And he's actually been home for the last month because of COVID. They had to shut down Ironwood, and so we were happy to see him get back with that work, and looking forward to him having a good summer down there and allowing God to work there. So that's the family.
Well, good. Yeah, Ironwood's one of the few camps that's still trying to go on, I think, for the summer. The majority, including yourself, have shut down. Well, kind of give us an update on what you guys are doing now for the summer with the camp ministry.
What we're doing for this summer is, in light of some of the restrictions we have to meet, which you obviously know about as you've been doing there at church, we decided to not run regular weeks of camp part of that being because we didn't have a full-time facility with our lodge because of it's being worked on right now and replaced. And so because of that, and because of some other factors that came into that, we decided to focus on work groups and focus our energies this summer on getting our lodge pushed toward completion. And so starting June 1st, we have our first group of folks coming in. They're going to be working on some structural beams and some of the second story floor structure that wasn't quite finished, and then working on that. And so that's where we're headed that first week of June, and then just going to proceed to work on interior projects there this summer. And then on August, the first week of August, August 2nd actually, we will go back to our regular scheduled events, which is our Summit Trails Unlimited backpacking trip. And so.
And when is that?
That is starts on August 2nd. And so just to give the folks an idea of what kind of programs we do offer, in a normal summer, we would offer graded weeks of camp, 2 teen weeks of camp. Teen week is for 13 through 19-year-olds. And then we run 3 weeks of junior camp, which is 9 through 12-year-olds. And we run those 5 weeks of summer camp, those graded weeks. We run a family camp, or a camp meeting as we call it, for families over the 4th of July. And that's just designed for the whole family to come and be there. And so that's one of our summer events. Then we do the Summit Trails Unlimited backpacking, which is how the camp actually started. And I'm going to share a little history with you in a minute. So
yeah, I was going to say, that's what we want to know, is ask you how the camp got started.
Okay. All right. And so let me jump to that then. Just give you a little history of the camp. In the 1860s, when the Transcontinental Railway was going across the United States, the Union Pacific Railroad contracted tie hacks. And tie hacks would go into the forest and cut trees. So the property that Red Cliff sits on is inside of National Forest, which was established in the early 1900s, but the camp property is deeded property that was deeded to a gentleman named Charles Maloney. He actually became the governor of Wyoming later in the 1800s, but he came and he was a tie hack. And what that meant is they sent crews in, they'd cut lodgepole pine down, they'd hew them into ties, and then there was horses that would drag them, and this is all in the wintertime, drag them down, and there was guys throwing them on the ice of the Green River. When the ice would melt on the Green River, those ties would go down to Green River, Wyoming, where they were snagged out of the river, and then the Union Pacific Railroad, which runs right through there along the southern part of Wyoming, used those ties to compete in that race against the Central Pacific Railroad to, meet at Promontory Point, Utah. All that history, some of that took place, and that's why we have the land we have where Red Cliff's at. A Christian attorney who was here in Pinedale had been saved at a Bible camp and just was wanting to encourage Phil Tubbs, who was the founder of Red Cliff, to get going with camp. And the Lord allowed him to be involved with a court case regarding this in-holding property inside the National Forest. He won that case, and the folks that had hired him paid him with land. He then, in turn, donated that land to Red Cliff Bible Camp so that we could have our campsite. And so that's gives you the history there of the campsite, how that started. The camp actually started with the Summit Trails Unlimited, which is the backpacking division. And because there was no facility up at the site, and so we would do backpacking trips for several weeks. And then we'd offer just a couple of graded weeks of camp. And then as the Lord has grown that's kind of flip-flop now. Now we run more graded weeks of camp, and we run a couple of Summit Trails trips every year.
So what was the first official year of Red Cliff?
The camp was founded in '74, but the first official summer of actual camp at Red Cliff Bible Camp was the summer of 77. They actually tried to have camp in the summer of 76, but they got this spring snow that we saw earlier out the window. And actually, it wasn't spring snow, it was summer snow. That was in June. And so it was too soggy to get in there and have summer camp. So summer camp started officially in 77. Camp was founded in 1974.
Okay, good. And for those that didn't see, outside of Dean's window, their ground is completely white from a nice May snowstorm. How did Red Cliff get the name?
Located about a quarter mile from the camp are some red sandstone cliffs, and the early camp staff took some time and talked about some different ideas for a name, and then said, well, the Red Cliffs are right there. And so a logo was designed, which you've seen on our literature and stuff, a round circle with the cliffs and a Bible there. And so thus Red Cliff Bible Camp.
Yeah, and you take campers, typically take campers to a hike up there to even see the cliffs most weeks, I think, as well, right?
Right. I know we do every junior week because the juniors have not seen the cliffs. So every junior week, the juniors go up. And then during different retreats and stuff, one of the fun things about a winter retreat is going up there on snowshoes and a snowshoe hike up to the Red Cliffs.
Oh, fun. So what is, today in 2020, what is the mission of Red Cliff? What is your mission?
The mission of Red Cliff is we are a missions-based camp, actually. All the camp staff serve as missionaries so that we can offer the camping programs that we do. So we're a mission-based camp seeking to lovingly confront campers with their need, first of all, of salvation, and then to encourage each one in obedience and service, and to encourage them to serve and go home and be in their local church. And one of the things that we're really trying to focus on in 2020 is how we can be the best tool in the church's toolbox, because we want to support the church entity that God has raised up, which is his plan for this time period. And we want to be that vital tool that they can use to encourage people and toward salvation, and then to encourage those that are saved in obedience and service. And we feel like if you're truly saved, then you'll know how to obey. And as you obey, service will be an outpouring of that. So a true obedience leads to service. And so those are and if you look that up, that's our mission. Even on our website and stuff, our mission is to encourage those folks in salvation, obedience, and service, and encourage them to take that home to their local church.
Good. What's the camp verse?
The camp verse is 2 Chronicles 16:9a, and that's for the eyes of the Lord run to and fro throughout the whole earth to show himself strong on behalf of them whose heart is perfect toward him.
Amen. Okay. You mentioned camp staff being mission supported. Why don't you tell folks about the staff, who you have for staff, maybe your year-round staff, how they're supported, and then even how you get your summer staff. Tell us a little bit about that.
Okay. Currently on our resident staff is the Loftus family. I've already mentioned our family to you. So we serve there. I am the director of the camp, and then my wife serves as the food service director. The McGills, Dick and Deirdre McGill, have been with us since 1975. So 44 years on the camp staff.
Dick was involved in the founding, correct? Or the beginning days?
Yes, Dick, the founding director was Phil Tubbs, and Dick was working with him at that time. Yeah, so they've been with us all that time, and so that's been encouraging. all the years of sacrifice that they've given, just to see where the camp's gotten to. And then in about 7 years ago, the Hybor family joined us, Dave and Wixie. Dave was a missionary builder and would travel and build at churches and camps. And now he's responsible for our building grounds and our building projects. And then the Holt family joined us last summer, Keith and Stacy. And they are Northland grads. And Keith actually attended Northland Baptist Bible College and got a degree in camping, and worked there at Northland. And then they've come on board, and Keith is doing our program directing. So those are our resident staff families.
And how are they supported?
We all raise our support through churches and serve as home missionaries at Red Cliff, supported by churches that take up our support.
Okay. And then how do you get your summer staff, and what do you bring on for summer staff?
We usually bring on to the camp staff about 20 to 25 young people. We try to recruit them from Bible colleges for the cabin counseling jobs. We do have some high schoolers that have either come to camp as campers or are in our SALT program, which stands for Servants as Leaders Training. And if they're in the SALT program, they train with the college students, and they get some additional training as well to help them in that and encourage them. And then we have some support staff as well. And we try to recruit them at colleges or at churches. And we're finding, actually, with all that's been going on, especially with COVID, that some of the colleges are changing their formats and things. And so we're actually looking to just encourage kids that know camp, and have them look to giving a summer as they grow older and get into that college age. So
that's why it's so important. I encourage our folks to keep praying for the camps and missionaries, because of, COVID is impacting so many ways, from recruiting to having things in the summer, and missionaries out raising support, and all those things. Very, very difficult days going ahead. You've mentioned the lodge, and of course, I think a lot of our folks know about the fire, but maybe, update folks on that. That was, certainly a great tragedy, and you guys have faced more than one tragedy through the years at camp. But why don't you kind of bring folks up to speed on that, and maybe even some of the lessons and blessings of God that you've seen through some of these things through the years.
Okay. Well, in February of 2017, we had our main lodge burn in a fire, and that was a total destruction fire. People ask us why we didn't even use the old foundation, and the best way I can put it is it was so hot that porcelain commode melted down into the sewer system. And so just the intensity of that. So basically the building was just totally destroyed. And that happened in February of 2017. We had actually run 2 couples retreats. And so we'd already had camp for 2 weekends in the winter. And then we were going back in to set up for the men's retreat, which was the following weekend, and found the building had been consumed by fire. Our staff at that time, we were obviously, a little bit in turmoil and just wondering, God, what are you trying to do? And God gave us some anchor truths. And so we focused on those. And those 4 anchor truths: God is sovereign, God is good, God always acts with purpose, God can be trusted. Those were those 4 anchor truths. And so for the entire year after the fire, our staff studied those anchor truths, and we'd come to meetings and everybody was tasked with finding scriptures that talked about God's sovereignty, talked about God's goodness, that talked about God always acting with purpose, and talked about God. You just totally can be trusting in Him. He knows. He's got it under control, and so all that, those anchor truths. So a lot of study was born in that. Hundreds of verses. It was really encouraging to us. We've actually written all those down, all the verses that we found. And for me, what that's done is channeled some messages, some studies. One thing I just really love is the whole story about Lazarus in John chapter 11, and how, we see that story unfold, and God used the raising of Lazarus to be a testimony for him, but he acts with purpose. He had a plan. He didn't get caught by surprise that Lazarus had died, and he was not surprised when he was risen to life. And so just how that works and how that's been encouraging to us. So that's some lessons we've learned in that, and those anchor truths have become a focal point. When I do get to visit your church, I intend to share the slides of all the blessings that God's done in this building process. And so that's been kind of an ongoing PowerPoint slideshow, which is now up to about 100 slides. And just all the things God has done in that, and we've seen him do. And so it's actually reaffirming in our minds those anchor truths. Our God is sovereign. He is good. He always acts with purpose. So, and he's trustworthy.
Amen. Well, and this isn't the first, it's a tragedy, but pales in comparison to some other tragedies that you guys have faced in the years past. Any ongoing lessons from some of those?
I think in light of things that God brings you through and allows you to go through, it's been good to, even for our camp staff, to just focus on even the camp verse. God is watching, and he's looking to show himself strong and on your behalf. And so even in this summer of, I guess I'm going to call it a transition summer, right, where we need to focus with work groups, we're still looking forward to ministry that the work groups are going to have to the camp, and that we're going to have to them, and just encouraging them in their lives, and them encouraging the camp in this, because God is going to show himself strong on our behalf. So
what are some of the projects that you're trying to accomplish then this summer?
Okay.
What some of the needs that you have, and even, I guess, well, we'll get to goals going forward, but what are some of your particular needs this summer that you're trying to accomplish and need help with?
We are working to, as we rebuild the lodge, we were able to get it all under roof last fall. And so now we have exterior siding, exterior porches, and windows and doors and soffit to get that totally buttoned up. And then inside, we have started to lay out the framing. So we have interior framing, interior plumbing, interior electrical. So those things are in line to happen this summer, and we're working toward those. There's kind of an order on that, and we have established that order. So as groups come, we'll work till we get the framing done, and then we'll move on to the interior plumbing, interior electrical. And then this is a blessing that you can rejoice with us about. A company in Colorado has donated the labor, and they're going to hang all the sheetrock and tape it and texture it in the entire building. And then they are working on what they can do as far as donating even sheetrock. So at this point, some of the sheetrock's even been donated. And so when we get a finalization on that, we'll share that with people. But just that blessing. And then do pray with us. Building expenses are really high.
Right.
They when they designed the building in 2017, even to 2020 now, the estimates, things have gone up. The porch package was purchased this last week or ordered to put the upstairs porches on, and that was about $27,000. And I was like sticker shock, but that was with just all the components needed to make that happen. So
I just saw recently that all lumber prices, because of all the things associated with COVID, have gone up over 10% just in the last few weeks, and which is what I saw was a record increase in price in a period of time like that. So,
well, maybe it's a great thing that that was ordered during the month of March. So
right. Yeah,
we
amen.
got that cheaper price on that. But yeah, that's going on. We also have a fuel farm, basically where our fuel tanks are, and we started a lean-to on that to keep the snow from filling up the pit. They all sit in a containment pit that you have to do for just those standards. We have that project going on. We're trying to finish the tower. We have a rappelling, climbing, and zip line tower, and we have a few little projects on that to finish that we're going to be working on this summer. One of the exciting things about that is these other projects, we already have the materials on site. We're not able to get to them because of the lodge project. So focus on the lodge, the fuel farm lean-to, finishing the tower, and then bathrooms and cabins. Those of you that have been to camp from Temple Baptist, you knew that we didn't have any bathrooms in the boys' cabins. Salt Lick cabin, the first boys' cabin, now has completed bathrooms in it, and we're going to be starting the bathrooms in the other boys' cabin in Big Sheep cabin. So that's on our project list. And then our playground. Last summer we did not have a playground because the other one had grown old and wood had rotted out, and a playground was money was donated to buy one, and so it was setting on site, ready to be erected. So just all these.
And that was delivered while we were there last summer.
Okay. So that's one of the projects to get put up this summer. So we're ready to go with future. And you're talking about future goals. I mentioned already, Pastor, that we want to be the best tool we can be for the churches, but we're also wanting to kick off next summer with a usable lodge and have some of these other things in place as far as the program, the playground and the tower finished, and those baths and the cabins, so that we can just kick right into another summer of ministry. And then another future goal we have is a multi-purpose housing building. It's on our master plan. And what that's for is for winter couples retreats and summer sponsors. And so I know that you folks, especially from up there at Great Falls, when you come down, it's nice to stay. And we really haven't had places for people to stay. And so that's one of our future goals, is to have that established so that sponsors can come and spend the week with us.
Sure. Good. So the needs for this summer then, if put it out to folks, and even as we put this on our channel, no doubt folks from not even our ministry that will see this, what kind of needs do you have for this summer that you want folks to know about?
Well, with workers, we're trying to fill up every week of the summer with work groups. And obviously we can't take everybody the same week. So that's coming in. I still do have a few openings in the month of June, July, August, and September where we can plug in some workers. And we're asking those workers when they come to help us with food cost and keeping them there, housing them costs, so that we don't have to dig into our building monies that way
Right.
to keep them. And so those are some areas of need we have. And so if somebody's interested in that, excuse me, they can contact us via email, our camp email, or on our camp phone number, and we can let them know about that. The other area is just really pray that God will bring in all the funds we need. If somebody wanted to give that way toward the lodge building, there's a need for additional funds to take that to completion. And so we're asking for prayer in that and God's provision in that as well.
So so you need volunteers to come help with projects. Skilled volunteers are great, but you've got a variety of projects, from even cleaning and firewood cutting and other things that you all could use help with, because you do all your heating with wood during the winter months as well. And so from highly skilled people for all the trades down to folks that just come and help, but then also folks that maybe can't come but are able to give financially or materially to help in that, would be a help and a blessing and benefit this summer as well. So everything in between would be worth praying about.
Yeah, that would be great, Pastor. And what we're looking at too on that is somebody asked me, for example, it was just last week. They said, well, I'd love to buy a window, for the building. And I said, that's great, but what we really need is you want to send a gift, just send it for the lodge building so that we can continue the process and get what's needed first before we get to like a specific window. And then all the windows can be purchased. If somebody gives to that, all the windows can be purchased that are all the same, not, everybody buy a window there. So I just want people to understand that we want to use their gift just to get that building finished.
Sure. Good. Well, and even if folks wanted to, maybe their burden was the bathrooms in the cabins or whatever, they could also give specifically towards those projects as well, correct?
Yes, they can. Yep.
Okay. All right. Any specific prayer requests that you'd have us to be praying for?
Yes.
You mentioned, but very specific.
Specifically, Dick McGill, who's been on our staff. I was sharing with you that they've been on our staff for a long time. He is undergoing some cancer treatment, and he has another doctor's evaluation and test on June 22nd to see if that cancer is going into remission or if he's still going to be dealing with it. So that's a health request. And then Anna Grace is the oldest child of Dave and Wixie Hybor. And just this coming week, on Tuesday, the 26th of May, she's going to have a surgery at Shriners Hospital in Salt Lake City to take some plates and screws out of her knee. And she has some handicaps from birth that they've been trying to correct so that she can have a regular walking gait. And so some of you that have been to camp know her and know that she's quite the young lady. And so she's a fifth grader and has that surgery this coming Tuesday.
Okay.
And then the other pertinent request is pray for our summer staff. We do have a partial staff team coming in this summer, and they're going to arrive on June the 15th. And we're going to have a week of staff training together, and just pray for them, as ministry will be different as we minister to work groups, and that they will be encouraged and that God will provide for them.
Okay. And then as well, praying for projects and the support for all of that, the needed things that you've already mentioned, and then staff support. How are your resident staff all doing for personal support?
Well, we just actually worked through that and did some percentages. So our one staff family sitting at 96% of their support. And then we have our new family, which is at about 65%. And then the other two families are at about 75 to 79% of support. So
Good. Okay. Well, we'll have folks pray for that. Any final words that you have for us? Anything we haven't covered, or anything that you want to share here at the end?
Well, I just was looking at my notes here. Pastor did tell me before we started this kind of what we're going to do, so I just jot down a few things. I just wanted to mention back to our camps. We do run adult retreats in the fall and winter, and couples retreats in the winter. And then before the lodge burned, we had a science camp for Christian school kids or homeschool kids. And our goal is to have that again this fall. And so just wanted people to know about those opportunities that we have. And then just am encouraged to see that you guys, your church there at Temple Baptist, encourages camp and gets kids out to camp and does things with kids in the summer. I just know camp is a vital tool, and I do appreciate this about your pastor. I guess I'll embarrass him a little bit, but I'm excited that he's a past camp guy. He understands how camp can be used for God's glory and to encourage a church. So that's what we want to do.
Yep. Camp's a special place, and it's a very needed entity, I believe. And just appreciate you mentioning that about the adult retreats, because so often we think that camp is just for kids, and all the things that God does in the lives of kids is needed, maybe even more magnified in the lives of adults, for a time to come away, to refresh, to be reminded of what the priorities of life are, especially as Christians, and in a unique, secluded place. And so excited for what you guys are doing there. How many years have you been there now?
This will be my 31st summer, and I've been full time since '89, so 20 some years, 27 years, yeah.
Amen. No, we appreciate it, Dean. Appreciate all you're doing. We'll be in prayer for that. And of course, that we're also praying about, because of no camp for our teens, looking at what we're going to do. And one of the things that we're looking at is the possibility of coming down anyway and doing a work camp trip while your staff has the opportunity to still minister to our kids. And our parents and folks are looking at that, and hopefully that will work out. But either way, let our folks know to be in prayer for Red Cliff and other ministries. We'll have the information for Red Cliff here at the end of the video of this time, how to communicate with them. We'll do it here through the church as well, for folks that want to know more specifically about specific needs, or maybe send a gift, plan a trip down, whatever the needs might be. We'll have that information on here as well. Thanks, Dean, for serving. How's your wife's health?
She's been doing well. So I know that some of you knew about her vertigo last summer that she was dealing with, and she has had a few bouts, but not like last summer. So that's been encouraging. So thank you for asking.
Oh, amen. Well, we'll be in prayer for you all. We'll be in touch, and Lord willing, we'll see you face to face, whether it's down there or when you're coming back up here to Montana, heading up to Havre. And we'll look forward to that day as well, to see the presentation that you have. Well, thanks for taking the time, and Lord bless you, and we will talk to you later.
All right. Thank you, Pastor.